Morning peeps. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Currently 7:56 a.m. And as you can see, I'm in a somewhat different environment. I actually moved back on hall for my final year of university. So we'll actually reach on the final stretch. So thank God for another year. Today, what I wanted to speak about were some of the do's and don'ts of doing Uber in Jamaica. And I already curated a list on my phone to not waste any time. So I could just jump right in it. So I'll go start with some of the do's. So one is to make sure your documents are in order. So obviously, before you're even allowed to start driving for Uber, you need a valid Jamaican driver's license, a vehicle fitness certificate, your insurance, and I believe your road license from the transport authority. From personal experience, what I remember doing when I was just signing up, yeah, obviously a picture of my driver's license, a picture of the registration for the car, and the insurance. 'Cause I remember taking a picture of those things. I think those were three things I took a picture of, and in less than 24 hours, in less than 12 hours, in less than 5 hours, I believe I got a notification stating that I was eligible to get started up and running, you know? So that's one of the do's. Another one is to know high traffic and high earning times. So personally, I realized that throughout the summer, there was like a less demand or less need for Uber, even though you're still making good money during the summer, but it wasn't as high as when you're in like the school season. So like September to December or September to November if it's university, and February down to May. Specific times of the days, I would say from as early as 5:30 or 6 o'clock up until about 9, 10 maybe. Because remember that most schools, most um workplaces start at 8 o'clock, and some persons are late, so they probably reach like 8:39. But after 8:39 o'clock, it's completely dead. There's basically no traffic on the road. Everyone is in class, everyone is at work, and that's it for the day. Well, that's it for the morning. And when you go into the afternoon, same peak hours when everyone wants to leave work, everyone wants to leave school. So 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, up until 5, 6, even though you're still getting a good amount of demand or a good amount of requests after 6, I would say like a good amount or a numerous quantity of people are desirable of the service. Based on personal experience, probably it's different for some people, but well, not necessarily different because all of us is in the same up and in the same location. Oh, specific areas, just Kingston in general. Kingston, St. Andrew in general, downtown, Crossroads, Halfway Tree, New Kingston, Ligani, Papine. There's a lot of trips I've also done from UE to UTech and UTech to UE. So if you're even a university student like myself and you don't want to be driving like vast distances out into, I don't know, Crossroads, Spanish Town Road, downtown, there's a lot of students and even um, employees or employers or whatnot who want to go from UE to UTech, UE or UTech to Mona neighborhood to Ligani, and you still get paid good amount of money, especially in peak hours. In peak hours, there's something called surge. So because of the time of day or the how high of demand it's in, you will actually earn more money for doing the same distance or same trips. So for example, I remember going from UE to UE. So literally from, for example, one of the 138 student living halls to the MedSci building or the medical sciences building where they do medicine, dentistry, whatnot. And usually on like just a dead day, I'll probably get like $300 just to go from one of the 138 halls to the medical science building. But that day I got $800 for less than 5 minutes worth of a trip. Because I remember watching one video. This guy was saying that the most money he ever made in one trip was about $700 to go from like halfway tree or something like that all the way up to Red Hills. And I found that crazy because I'm making like even thousands. I made $1,400. It's in a video that I already created and posted already. I made $1,400 from someone who wanted to go from Yui to Long Mountain, and from Yui to Long Mountain is not far. It's not a long distance. You don't burn much gas. The only reason you'd burn somewhat an amount of gas is because you're going up the hill. So due to the slope or the gradient, you're going to be exerting, or the car will be exerting more energy to go up that distance. That's the only reason you would be burning more gas. But apart from that, $1,400 is it doesn't cost $1,400 to go to Long Mountain. All right, so it's a so that's a good timing between 7 to 9 or 6 to 9 and 2 to 5 or 2 to 6, and the perfect areas anywhere in Kingston, downtown, Halfway Tree, Ligani, New Kingston, Papine, Mona neighborhood. Next, keep safety first. So obviously, lock your doors while driving. Trust your instincts. Like, if like, sorry to be judgmental, but if someone looks a certain way and you're not comfortable with it, if they give off a certain demeanor, or they just don't look safe, just drive off, bro. Just cancel the trip and just move on. I personally have never been through that experience, but if you are in a position like that, just do the right thing. Just move along. Cancel the trip and somebody else will pick him up. Next, maintain a clean, presentable vehicle. I always try my best every Sunday to wipe out wash the exterior of the car and clean off the interior of the car. If I don't have time, I purposely leave my side of the car dirty and the other sides of the car clean if I don't have any time. But I try my best at the start of every week, once I have access to the car, that I clean the car and ensure that my passengers are, getting the experience, because they take Uber for a reason. They don't want to be in a public transportation or set up with people. They want to be in comfort. They want to be in style in a way, and they booked Uber for a specific experience. That's how they pay for their convenience, not just for necessarily getting from point A to point B, but in style, in comfort, in quality, and whatnot. Next on the list for do's, we have be familiar with the Uber app rules. Well, I don't know. Next, we're going on to the don'ts when doing Uber in Jamaica. So one is, this one person said don't. This one thing on the list: don't pick up passengers off the app. I have one experience where my phone was overheating at the time. It was broken. Like, the back was broken, the front was broken, and it was overheating a lot. But I already got I don't know if this counts as an experience or an example, but I was picking up somebody from Papine to go to UE, and in the midst of the situation, or me getting the pin to start the ride, my phone started overheating. So eventually she just said, what, just ignore that and I'll just pay you whatever that paid me or told me to pay you initially. So you don't have to worry about any pin or anything. So she trusted me to take her to her destination safely. But technically, we did do the driving off the app, and but at the same time, it was kind of in between. There's another example. I think I created this video, but I never posted it. I brought someone from Emancipation Park to S Supermarket in, I think, New Kingston, Lady Musgrave area, right there close to BMW, right across from UCC. And I brought her there, but then she was saying that if you don't want to put it on the app, that's okay. I'll just pay you whatever and bring me back to my location. So for that round trip to go back, I did not put it on the app, and she actually paid me more than the first trip for her to get from the Emancipation Park to the S Hotel. That trip, she paid me less based on Uber. That Uber told her to pay me, she actually paid me more than what the app told her to pay me for that same distance. And I guess because of her demeanor, because of her personality, because of her attitude, I trusted her that she would actually pay me. And she was a nice young woman. Actually, she went in the hotel, not the hotel. She went in the supermarket and came back with a beverage for me. I never asked for anything. I just sat down diligently in the parking lot just waiting on her. She came back with a drink. We had a good conversation. She was nice. She was sweet. And it was all in all a good experience. And that was a trip I did not do on the app. So not necessarily I don't, but just read the room for sure. Read the room and know who you're dealing with. Even though he's a complete stranger and you probably think of them in the wrong light because it's a case where they probably seem trustworthy but they're actually not. So just you know tread lightly is all I'm trying to say. Next, another don't drive in high risk areas at night alone, bro. The first night or the first day or the first time I ever did Uber was 12 in the morning, and one of the trips took me to some place along Hagley Park Road. And at that point, since it was my first time doing like Uber, I wasn't really like looking, or I don't know if I wasn't reading the location properly. I wasn't seeing the distance, and even before, because right now there is what I say. There's an update that will tell you, for example, the amount of money you will get paid before you even accept the trip, and I guess like more specifications for the distance you'll be traveling to and from. But before that update, I just saw like basically from Mona to, which I thought was Ligani, but I never Ligani, bro. I end up way out to Agley Park Road all by myself with this complete stranger. What at the time she never ever looked that secure, or I didn't feel as secure in the moment. And then I end up at some place in the Ugly Park Road, I have to drive around some corner, some bush. Not bush, I have to drive over some rock and them thing. And I'm in a situation where I feel like, yo, I'm gonna feel like the girl gonna pay me, cause one, it was cash. It was a cash trip. And two, I end up on a bag of zinc. Not to be judgmental or anything, but I start fret. I'm actually start fret. And then we see a man come out, man just pull the zinc. And I never know what to do at the moment, but luckily they were actually quite good people. And again, not to be judgmental, or I hope no one takes this the wrong way. It's just reality. I'm in a completely different environment I'm not accustomed to. I'm driving a certain vehicle that could potentially be stolen. Probably they believe that because I'm doing Uber, I have money on me. And again, not to be judgmental, but the location where I ended up in Hagley Park Road has a name and has history behind that name, and I was not safe. I did not feel safe at all. So yeah, the persons are actually quite nice. They gave me my money and I sped off. Next. What we have next? Don't accept cash for rides unless Uber permits it. Yeah, I guess. Don't get into arguments with riders. I've never gotten in an argument with anyone, especially if it's a female. When she comes in the car, I say good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever, and I shut up for the whole car ride unless she initiates a conversation. Women then feel like you always look them, or I feel like they're way more they get easily uncomfortable in comparison to men. But even men though, even when they come to the car, I don't really talk to them. I really like it when they put the earphones in their ears, so like I don't feel pressured to, or I don't feel like the situation or the environment is tense. But especially women, bro, I don't even talk to them unless they talk to me. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Though, I also heard something else where I was in an Uber ride one, but I was the rider, and the driver was telling me that one day when he just started out as well, he was having a good conversation with this girl, and she was receptive, she was talkative, everything. You see, when the trip done, she literally filed a complaint about the man, that he was very talkative and she was uncomfortable, and that dropped his ratings. That ratings as in like the ratings that Uber app gives you, because if she gives you a 1-star rating, obviously there's a lower probability of you to get like the good trips, like the trips that pay you well, to get more rides being recommended to you and whatnot. So just keep that in mind as well. Don't deal with the bugger talking, honestly, unless again they initiate the conversation. Next, don't forget to track expenses. Well, for me, like what I've stated in multiple of these videos, I calculate my gas, for example, because gas is the main expense, right? So I calculate my gas as 33% of whatever revenue I collect. So if I collect $3,000, I delegate $1,000 to gas. In terms of lunch, most times, to be honest, I starve. I don't really like spending money. Um, I've hardly bought lunch like in the Uber driving moment. Like once I'm on shift, I don't recall ever buying lunch. I either pack food from home, or I don't eat anything. I have this big liter water bottle, and I just drink it till I reach back home or reach back to my room, and I just go through the day like that. Apart from okay, so two other things or one other thing that's not on this list. One, yeah, two. So if it is possible, please ask the person who you've picked up to sit beside you, because I don't believe that Uber is as legal as it is, or I don't believe that Uber is completely legal or legitimate in Jamaica. So if it's possible, please ask the person to sit down beside you at the front, so it doesn't look like you're chauffeuring anyone. And second, if a police officer is supposed to stop you, never say that you're doing Uber. I believe that they think that because yeah, I think there have been a lot of altercations with Uber and the government, and Uber constantly states that they are not a public transportation service. They simply connect people to people. They never ever claim to be some form of transportation. Did they? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Did they ever claim to be a transportation like app or some form of, you're not talking about, I don't think they ever claimed to be a taxi service, I believe. Or is it that they never phrased it or stated it in that way that can bind them by law in the same way that the law binds taxi operators and bus drivers and all that? I don't think it's the same situation. So even with that being said, the government, the police officers, those workers believe that you should have some form of documentation or some license regulating you or giving you the permission to be Ubering or do some form of transportation where it's not private carriers or carrying people with the intent of receiving money in return. So with that, do not ever tell a police officer if you're ever supposed to be pulled over that you're doing Uber. They will go clamp your car, they might go tow it. One bugger drama. That has never happened to me. I've never been stopped by police while doing Uber. And follow your road codes. Do not give the police officers a reason to stop you. Because remember, they need a probable cause to pull you over. Yeah, I've been stopped for not having a not stopping completely at a stop sign, but instead doing a rolling stop. I've been stopped for parking at the airport. I didn't see the sign. I've been. I basically just came out of a gas station and the phone was in my hand and the police officer stopped me. But for all those instances, I've never been in en route to drop off someone from Uber. That's never been the case, and I thank God that's never been the case. And yeah, yeah, I've been a bit hypocritical for one of those points that I said, because when I said like advise them or recommend them to sit beside you, there's been a lot of cases where yeah, majority of the riders do sit beside me in the passenger seat, but there's a lot of times, not a lot of times, no, that's a lie. Most of the time them sit down beside me, but sometimes they just gravitate towards the back and not really chatting, so I make them sit on the back. But I would recommend for you to let them sit right beside you. And yep, that's Undercover Businessman's do's and don'ts for doing Uber in Jamaica. If you liked it, give it a like, show me some form of appreciation or love, and keep grinding, guys. Keep hustling. Money's out there to be made. Carry people safely. Don't just do it for the money. Do it for people and service provision. So have a nice day. I'm gonna continue my day, and I hope you continue yours later.